Hey gang, as requested, I'm going to make a little video explaining how I made some of the browns in the pepper painting, in the brown pepper painting. And I'm going to be doing it a way a little different than your standard art school way. You know, when you're in art school, they tell you you're supposed to mix everything with, red, blue, and yellow. But that's not always the most effective way. And it's not always the quickest. And so I'm going to start out with that way. And one of the easiest ways to make brown is to take Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, which is right here, mix those two together, and add a little bit of cadmium yellow. And you'll see you're going to get a pretty straightforward brown. And you can add a little bit more yellow. And that brown gets even lighter. And again, that's Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, and Cadmium Yellow. If you were to take a little bit more Sap Green into that mixture, you're going to get a greenish brown, more of an umber, less of a burnt umber, more of a raw umber. Add a little yellow, and you've got 4 extremely useful browns. And you can make a string. You could take the Alizarin Crimson and the Sap Green and mix them together with the yellow and bring them all the way down. And that's one way to do it. Another way to do browns is to just take burnt umber, which is right here, and this is the mixture that's right here. Regular burnt umber, it's Winsor & Newton burnt umber, and lighten it with orange. And you'll see this is, instead of mixing 3 colors, the Alizarin Crimson, the Sap Green, and the Cad Yellow, now we've got it down to 2 colors. Just the burnt umber and the orange. And I think this is a mixture that a lot of people might question. I think that, a lot of people would tell you not to use an earth brown and orange to make various tones of brown. But the fact of the matter is it's effective. And I like effective. Because I'm a slow painter, so this is an easy. Now, when I get into this, as far as making this lighter, and you can see it's extremely useful. There's 2 ways that you can lighten all this. You can lighten it with yellow, and so then you take your burnt umber and a touch of orange here. Match this color back to where it was. And lighten it with yellow. Let's make that a little darker. And lighten it with a little more yellow, and you're going to get a very light brown. A little more orange. And next to that, I'm going to clean the brush. I'm going to take some more burnt umber and a little bit of orange. Get again that nice brown color, only this time we're going to lighten it with white. And that's the mixture that we've got in this one right here. And you'll see lightening this mixture with white gives you a completely different scheme of colors. And if you needed a light brown, And you can lighten any of these with white to make them lighter. I don't need to make this a 3-hour video by doing every single one, but. And then the last way is a way that I was talking to a friend of mine a while back, and they were telling me that their teacher told them never to mix green and orange as your brown. And I've mentioned this before repeatedly, but I'll mention it again because green and orange make an excellent brown. So we're just going to take Sap Green and the orange and mix them together. And you get pretty successful browns in here. Now for this one, I'm going to add a little bit of the Sap Green to it, the Alizarin Crimson to it, because it's just to make it more of a brown a richer brown. It's a touch of the Alizarin Crimson, the Sap Green, and the orange gives you extremely rich brown. This is more on the Alizarin Crimson, on the Sap Green side, so next to it we add a little bit more of the alizarin. And again, now take the yellow or even the orange, it doesn't matter. And you can see by this assortment, we've got all the colors. Now, the only thing that we don't have is this really red brown. And the really red brown is the same mixture, only with more Alizarin Crimson and more orange. You could also use burnt sienna for some of these really red ones if you want to go even redder yet. More Alizarin Crimson, more orange, and the more Alizarin Crimson you add, redder it's going to get. And take the same mixture, more Alizarin Crimson, more Sap Green, make that same one darker. Same 3 colors, Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, orange, Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Cad Yellow. Will give you every single brown in these peppers. I have purple out and I haven't used it, but you can also add purple to a lot of these mixtures. So if you really want a deep brown, we don't really have a deep brown. You can take the Alizarin Crimson and the Sap Green, you mix the Alizarin Crimson and the Sap Green together straight, you're going to get an extremely deep brown, and you add some purple to that, and you get almost black. It's almost a pure black. We can let's take the orange and just see what happens. And that's a pretty effective, just real chocolatey brown. And let's lighten that with a little bit more orange. And you can just keep playing with these mixtures all day, and eventually you'll get every. I added some yellow to that, so this would be the purple. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to take that same mixture and we're going to add white to it, just right here, just to see what happens. And it's still going to be, it's just going to be a light brown. And I'm going to clean the brush. I'm going to add a little bit of white to that last one. And one more time, just to go over the colors: white, cad yellow light, cadmium orange, alizarin crimson, sap green, burnt umber, Diox purple. And pretty effectively with those colors, you could mix any brown you can see. I can't imagine. Oh, highlights. Some people may use black and white for highlights, but for highlights on objects, you can actually go right into that purple. And a lot of the highlights on purple objects, especially in those, are going to be right in this range of just adding some of those light colors. And a tinge of purple in the highlight will never hurt your painting. It'll, in fact, make it more interesting. You can use just black and white for gray. A lot of the highlights in brown objects, especially brown hair, are black and white. They're gray. But adding a touch of purple just makes it interesting. That's about all I got. Thanks for watching.